estou a entrar em desespero. Desta vez já consegui confirmar. Os dois vídeos principais das configurações de gravação estiveram acumulados outra vez a vir pelo microfone, não, do próprio monitor. Eu estou a entrar a ver por causa de como é que o splitter chega. Vocês acharem desta treta de estar sempre a ouvir o som do monitor em vez de... E se o splitter funcionar? Senão... Estou tramado com tramado. Mas mais logo vamos começar. Estamos aqui. Já verifiquei desta vez não está errado. E vamos começar. Vamos aqui com Carol. Vamos colocar um Carol. Lembrei que fazer com que a gente quis fazer a coisa de sexta-feira pela primeira vez. Vamos lá. Não consigo ver o que preciso de ouvir. Agora todos já estão a fazer as redes. Não deu. Será que o Luís já foi pai dele? Ou do pai dele? Não está depois mata. Está um bocado pesado, sabe? Vai haver confusão. Isso eu devo acreditar. Net. Ou seja, eu é que vou disputar a casa que eu não conheço, tenho um mapa, mas não conheço. O sol, passa porque vai ser aqui nesta cara. Barra não sol. Acho um bilhete, acho, mas não vou verificar. Não já vejo. Sim, eu vou levar um barulho que mexer sempre no microfone do headset. Sounds like a stone. Coitado do filme, não? uma mania, pá, como esse negócio não perdeu, não é perigoso. Não, nada. E lá, pá. Vamos ver a conversa, hein?
Welcome home, my lady.
Não sei qual é. Que virado.
What? What are you gawping at?
Tá bem.
Oh, I suppose I never gave the decor much thought. I'm glad that you approve, I think.
Lord Fortuneau is not to hear of this visit. And I should also like the children to have their gifts, ere my husband makes his return.
As you wish, my lady.
Master Alphino, Mistress Alice, if you would accompany me upstairs.
We shan't be long.
The twins have been sending letters home from time to time, recounting their latest adventures. I am sure they withhold certain details, of course, if only to keep me from worrying. Yet a mother worries all the same. In the early days especially, I tried to support them as best I could, sending the Scion's coin and other such donations. Fortunately, they have found the strength to overcome adversity time and time again. Their words grow more confident with every letter, their depictions more vivid. The triumphs and defeats, the joys and sorrows. It is clear that they have come to find value in every experience. But of those they treasure most, it would seem that meeting you might be the most impactful. Why, since that fateful day, I do believe there has not been a single missive in which you were not mentioned by name.
Não, está.
It is plain they care for you, and I am glad they have such a steadfast companion watching over them. Under normal circumstances, I would offer you tea, but alas, these are anything but. In any event, why don't you keep me company whilst we await my children's return? Perhaps you might regale me with a tale or two of your exploits.
When you mentioned gifts, I wasn't sure what to expect. Mother,
Oh, look how well it fits you. And the style is to your liking?
It's perfect. Exactly what I would have chosen. But please, tell me you had something different made for Alphino.
Naturally. You are hardly little children anymore. And while I shall miss dressing you in those precious matching outfits, I must respect the individuals you have grown to become. See for yourself.
Thank you for the splendid clothes, Mother. Stylish, comfortable, and eminently practical.
I am so glad you like them. They are, however, missing one final touch.
If you would allow me, Master Alphino.
Não sei o que é. Is now a sage.
Wait. Are these...
Knowledge.
A sage's tools of the trade. They belonged to your father.
Mas vários dessas color.
Though he may as well be chained to his desk these days, as a student he was often called upon to venture into the field. He wielded those armaments, both to heal and to harm in no few battles. None so fierce as those you two have braved, perhaps, but battles nonetheless. Thus did I pull them out of storage, to show you that he was not always the man who stands in vehement opposition to you now. And also because it would be a terrible waste of ridiculously expensive House Leveilleur commissioned artistry. I am told these devices are quite difficult to master, but someone of your extensive experience should soon have them darting about with grace and aplomb. May the wisdom in that crystal serve you well. And please, try to find common ground with your father, that you might come and go without need for this awful subterfuge.
We will, Mother. I promise.
My final gifts to you, before you run off, are an observation and a suggestion. Firstly, Fortunato has ever been a serious man, but it was only after you were born that he truly lost himself in his work. I may not know the forum's inner workings, but I know your father's. The timing of that change in him holds some significance. Secondly, do not seek to best your father with words. Far better that you simply show him. Let him discover the merit of your actions, after they cannot be undone.
Não argumentem, façam ações.
Oh, Mother.
We shall take your wisdom to heart. Thank you again for these gifts, and farewell for now.
Safe travels, my children. Eat well, stay warm, and keep your friends close.
Começou de nível 8 empresa foi muito mal. Ah, 81. Aleluia. Contente para escutar 81. Um passo cada vez.
Your time in Thavner has certainly been eventful.
Essa tá na hora.
In my opinion, carrying out Vitra's request and assaulting the Tower of Zot should be our highest priority.
I agree. While I still have questions concerning the Forum and their grand undertaking, we have all but exhausted our avenues of investigation. Simply pressing them any harder on the subject will almost certainly result in our expulsion. Therefore, I suggest we explore the ethereal sea connection by way of a letter to Master Matoya, then make our way to Thavner.
I wonder, even with the protection these talismans afford us, what can we hope to achieve once inside the tower? According to Orenvold and Fodola's report, they were unable to free the Emolja. Worse, their attempts triggered the tower's defenses, which led to a summoning of Luna Afrit.
What does it tell us that the Spires even have such defenses? Simply pulling a prisoner from the wall is fatal, thus the direct approach is doomed to failure from the outset. Any further measures to dissuade such actions seem unnecessary. Unless, of course, there is a way to free the prisoners without killing them. Then it stands to reason that any intruders will be met with overwhelming force.
The towers appeared throughout the world in but the twinkling of an eye. 'Twas by magical means these structures were raised, I surmise. A spire thus conjured must needs be maintained. And I suspect an arcane catalyst, some manner of core, doth lie hidden within.
Tinha saudades da sua forma possível.
Destroy the core and the tower ceaseth to be, thus liberating the captives without harm.
So we can hope, and I would prefer to enter the tower with a working theory than with no plan at all.
Assuming Ishtola's reasoning is correct, the chances of the defenses remaining dormant are small to none. Any primals will have to be dealt with, and defeating one will likely only lead to the summoning of another. Our every victory will only compound the prisoner's suffering.
May we not then divide our forces? Those proficient in healing will focus on sustaining the captives. That duty can be covered by Urianger, Cryle, Yostela, and myself. The remaining scions will proceed with the search for the core. Admittedly, this strategy puts both parties at greater risk, but it should bolster our chances of saving the Arkasodara by a considerable margin. If you're to fight primals, then you'd best have at least one healer with you.
Ok, agora isto é o seguinte, não pensei bem. Ok, podia ter dito a Elisa que sim, lembrei-me. Burro, não prestei atenção, peço desculpa, eu queria dizer mesmo a Elisa, que eu não queria, disse ao final porque pensei no Elisa, não interessa.
And I am more than happy to fulfill that role. I found wielding a sage's armament to be rather intuitive, and look forward to testing them against a more challenging foe.
It seems we have a plan. All that remains is to carry it out. I will inform Radzithan of our movements, so let us make our preparations and regroup near the tower.
A military post in what's left of the Hamsa hatchery should serve as a convenient staging point.
That sounds perfect. And remember, the experimental aetherite at the confluence is there for those who need it, so there's no excuse for being late.
Seja tanto, os healers se for necessário e os até sempre. Eu vou testar aqui a oportunidade. Ok, ficha. Das ruínas, também tem certa gravando, né? Mas pensamos que ir aí Idiot Shire. que é mesmo já. Não tenho isto sempre não. Não era preciso esquecer. A primeira dungeon. Eu queria que seja. Pelo menos. Pessoas a testar a primeira dungeon antes de sair. Já chamados mesmo este nome em si. Sim, ok, tenho certeza. Não vi nada. Mesmo pela primeira vez e estou mesmo contente para ver isso. Antes de mais, montarias. É isso que me falta. Não, esse não vai ter aqui fora que eu não vi que eu consegui há pouco. Tem que ser. Estou a brincar, isso é uma coisa que eu fiz na montaria. Estamos ao around me boy. Não posso voar aqui, mas quando eu voar, vão ver as linhas atingidas. Gostei da linha, só ficou muito bonita com os pocotós todos. Feeling back to 2013. Isto é o chocolate, né? Não me viram que eu vou brincar. Vamos aos poucos, né? E agora? Não sei. O que é agora? Jump. Skip. Come on. Como é que é relação às micoteias com a água? Agora que me ocorreu no meio da cabeça. Como é que é as micoteias com a água? Esta parte com que aspas, não sabe? Tá, sim, isto antes foi uma conjura para o alpinismo, depois se montou não, tornou-se uma sorte barra Black Mage. Mas eu percebo o caso. Eu percebo o porquê disto. São tanto, um healer e os 2 DPS para os filhos novos vírus, qualquer uma das classes, e temos tudo aqui para completo fazer a DPS. Sim, eu vou fazer teste. Não vou esperar. Quer dizer, assim instante, não estou com certeza. Mas assim, vou fazer agora. Primeiro dungeon. Vou fazer primeiro dungeon normal. Primeiro, se vão ser iniciantes, eles não sabem o que fazer entre mim e isso, né? Pois, eu estive a fazer aquelas coisas, os extremes. Vamos fazer assim mesmo, para ver o que é que acontece. Só vai ser tudo novato, né? Oh! Olha, vou sentar aqui. Eu sou tanque, eu até ser irritar, talvez. Agora, isto vai ser tudo gente nova. Eu também vou ser novo, não vou fazer nada. Isto é a primeira vez, mas lá ver o quanto eu vou sofrer. Mas tu és assim, se tu sabes o que fazer, tu vais fazer tudo certo. Uma dungeon com os jogadores. Ou não sabem, ou não sabem. Ou fazem isso mesmo, é normal. Eu estou a gostar muito disto agora. Quando há uma nova DLC vais fazer qualquer coisa das dungeons ou para isso, é logo, está feito. E quando há dungeons novos, acho isto. Se não chega amigos, a malta foi tudo de anterior para passar isto tudo. Ficar que está, perdão para todos que querem avançar, porque eu tenho que prever tudo isto, ok, não, desculpa. Não estou a ser nada, eu tenho muita coisa que vou fazer bem. Mas vou meter essa coisa. Não deixamos jogar para aqui. Como todo este circuito. Será de bruxa e confio destruir, não for para complicado. Olha lá, são tantos. Não, rápido. Desculpem. Primeira vez. Aqui. Oh shit, estou a morrer. Aí foi logo a ilha. Aí, cai de meio, cai. Apanha-me. Apanha-me. Calma. Primeira vez, desculpem. Vamos lá aqui. Está a ficar bem. Esquece, acabou. Mate. Continua. Isso. era que badia isso no ok. Já tem de vir EndWalker, isso deve ser alguma coisa. Mas acho que até que eu seguro sozinho. Só mecânicas. Eu não quero imaginar se não sai esta coisa em arma. Mas é muita vida. This was something. Aqui quer tudo. Amigos, eu não sei se vocês vão perceber, mas eu já estou a levar porrada com uma cara para soltar disso. E vocês querem que eu avance mesmo? Curioso, mas eu tenho que perto mais. Mas não sabe, não passar uma comunicação. Então isto é tudo era... Pois, também aquela era pequena. Outra com isto? Pode, literalmente vamos lutar. Ele é o healer, está sempre levar, caramba, isto é que eu faço. Já vai ter que nos vemos a ver a correr outra vez. As paradas nós temos que ir, é isso? As paradas nós temos que ir. As paradas. Ok, as paradas nós temos que ir. Temos que ir para aquelas que são paradas. Por enquanto, deve ser isto. Outra coisa. Cada um dessas dicas e começa a ter um nome das coisas. Aqui é as botas que os nossos não envolve. já arranjei a boss. Mas agora não é especial. Então. O dungeon está full. É ela mesmo. Acho que é isso. Pelo menos penso eu. Acho que estava também é baseado. Em si, não é? Tu também. Silvruva. Esta é assim, o nome é assim, mas não sei o que é a falar. É mil filhos que assim. Sempre tem a ver com o carro de 4. Vamos lá, prontos? Estas mesmas mecânicas todas, não é? Oh shit! Isto agora vai ser bonito. Isto vai ser épico. Tu vai perder com os 3 bosses finais, é por causa disso. São todas elas. Isso tudo isso. Estou a brincar, eu morri para aí mais de tudo no primeiro. Mas isto também está. Começa a ter este boss uma só vez. Não, ainda não fiz o W, ainda não fiz. Nem sei se eu devo conseguir fazer isso. Com coragem. É muito difícil, ok. Muito difícil. E eu recebi um challenge que era a fazer para o... Depois das duas jornadas de challenge que não queria.
Is everyone all right?
We fortified the captives with what magics we could. Have the defenses been disabled? All appears quiet for the moment.
The lower floors were disturbing enough, but this place feels wrong. The ether is heavy and thick, like wading through a quagmire.
I believe we stand in the tower's beating heart. What sayest thou, Ishtola?
I see it. Ether siphoned from the land runs up through the spire, flowing to a single point. This is the core we seek. Yet something is off. As large as this structure is, it siphons far more ether than is required to sustain it. 'Tis as if the core is feeding on the energy, consuming it. I need to take a closer look. Curious. There is something there embedded inside the core. A man's limb.
This is what we came to destroy?
Yes, if you would be so kind.
Acho que talvez lindo seja. Está fechado. So far so good, I guess.
And that should be the end of it.
What now?
My theory that the tower might come crashing down following the core's destruction doth appear to be correct.
Bully for you! And how are we supposed to survive the fall?
Your wings? I don't know.
What of the prisoners below?
The floor beneath our very feet dissolves. Brace yourselves!
I pray I'm not too late.
Vamos, fanboy. No. A seus ajuda quem cedo madruga.
What happened?
By my reckoning, We're still on the island where the tower stood, but 'tis as if it never existed.
Puf.
Hardly a scratch. But how?
Vamos ver.
Graha wove a levitation spell at the last moment. Large enough to catch everyone, it would seem.
That explains the lack of obvious injuries.
The expenditure of so much ether has taken its toll. He will need plenty of rest, but should otherwise be none the worse for wear.
Then the immediate problem is what to do with our new friends here. They'll be much changed for their time in the tower. Even if their bodies are intact, I doubt we could say the same for their minds.
Angelo and I will take care of that.
I have every faith in you, Alize, but there are just too many for you to treat alone.
We'll send at once to Eorzea for more Porksies, and call on the local mages to lend a hand.
Hail, Scions! We were watching the tower when it simply disappeared. What happened here?
The threat is banished, and thy people delivered. They are, however, in need of treatment, and we of a secure locale and helping hands to assist us in its provision.
You shall have all this and more. Come, let us convey these unfortunate souls to the city.
Não sabe. Ah. O problema é que eu não tenho, por isso eu recordo daquela cidade. Eu acho que fui embora quando eu me vi aqui. Não há nenhum sinal do Saint Daniel, do próprio Amon. Aqui esta tower está cada vez a fazer mais e mais e mais e mais significado para o encher o brilho do si. Não sei se foi o acaso, ou vamos pôr as Lions Raids do Roman Bond obrigatórios para a história, senão vocês não avançam na história, ou eles disseram mesmo, ok, eles não vão avançar na história porque nós vamos fazer alguma coisa mais tarde. Então, fechado, brinca-se porque nós vimos isso. Está cada vez mais e mais dimensão, cara. Mas ainda de ser uma coisa fácil, o Bleeding Gods of Bahamut. Eu não fiz a todas, nem tenho o segundo turno, não tive vontade disso. É que vou perder alguma coisa muito significante por não ter feito todos os vídeos ao Bahamas. Em termos de história, senão eles admitiram-se obrigatório. Como que estás a explicar? A única coisa que aparece aqui também muitas vezes tem a ver com o conteúdo secundário. Acho que eu sempre evitar isso de vez em quando. Vamos a ver. Assim. Posso correr contigo? Posso. Não sou usado por correr com os nossos friends. Eu posso já ter do char antes de fazer o char principal? Deixa eu ver, acho que não. Posso? Ok. Mas vai lá não. Esta zona social da high hand do jogo ainda mais. Já temos uma que é Charlene, eu vou dizer Charlene, não Radzhatan. Mas aqui não posso só não ter isso, qualquer jogo. Vamos lá rapidamente do turno principal. Eu gosto mais da cidade. Não quero atrapalhar coisas. Está aqui muita gente, também por alguma razão deve ter para aqui. Oh, é como Ilmor, ok, é como Ilmor. Isto é como Ilmor, ou seja, não podem vir já a fazer no cristal principal. Não podem dar no cristal principal enquanto não chegarem a um certo ponto da história, talvez logo finalizar. Nós podemos dar o time de Ilmor na altura, foi antes do Mount Gould, não foi? Quando tirámos lá o Voltio do Ilmor em si. Cheio de peixe. Apenas, nós temos uns 600 ir até aqui. Vou explorar ainda. Ok, isto já está cheio de lag, olha lá. Nem vi a animação dos meus slices. Vamos ver. Não está de bom. Isso, as cores, não sou muito saturado, mas está na parte. Não há qualquer que tem sugerir em si. Gostava que o Rush desse para estas coisas. Outras coisas. Para dar assim. Só ao pé dele. E logo fazer o Rush. Não começo dano. Calma. Vai para a cama. Só que não. Ah, nessa minha vais mudar. Toda a gente aqui é Udinho. Vamos saltar da ponte. Talvez já usei. Olha, Susan, tu andas, eu preciso de ti. Os vocês da internet rápido. Entra dentro do jogo. Entra em todo lado. Jogar. Pokémon. Rush! Wait, what? How did you get there? Ai. É bem que são coisas novas. Loucura a torta direito. Que loucura a torta direito. Vamos estou a perder nem olhando para o mapa. Watchful Lady. Um ritmo deste cristal. Esse é evita-se. É Ethernet. Vou começar a lembrar-me de hoje. Acho que chegou no vídeo a dizer Ethernet. Peraí. Vamos ver. Eu posso fazer som ali? Posso. Sim, vamos ver grandes vistas. O que é que me dá? Ah, só faz isso, eu vou explorar assim toda a cena principal, ver tudo com calma. Vou parar aqui. Claro. Mas é um sucesso que deve fazer a montaria. Talvez a montaria. Não, eu ia fazer a montaria. Então talvez a vida mesmo não ter montaria. Eu fui em grande também com montaria. É uma cidade, é uma habitante. Sim, eu posso. Agora aqui não sei. Como por causa das pessoas próprias, então não haja montaria. As que sejam como carro de lixado, montanha, drogas de lixo. Eu modo não poder usar, não teria nada problema, porque também não é assim tão grande. É só mesmo uma assaulto. Dá cada vez mais, quando imagina que eu não estou a gravar. E não corri. Raha! Welcome back.
Are we the last to arrive? I hope we've not kept you waiting.
Not at all. Your comrade is feeling better, I trust.
Much better, thank you. Harness remedies are certainly potent, in more ways than one.
One becomes accustomed to the taste, although I hope you never have cause to do so. Pray, take your ease.
Full glad I am to see you all unharmed.
Valiant scions, for your heroism, you have my boundless gratitude. You cast down that dire tower and set free its hapless captives. You cleanse their souls of its corrupting influence. No words of thanks will suffice. In place of platitudes, I offer a bounty of warding scales. Pray accept your due reward, along with the goodwill of Radzatan.
Alchemists throughout the land were put to work in the forging of your talismans. The finished ones have been collected, and now await you at the High Crucible of Alchemia.
Crucible? Ai, não posso Crucible.
Present this letter when you are ready to take them into your possession.
We are humbled by your generosity. know that the inventive wisdom of Radzat will be vital in restoring serenity to our star.
Every single one of those scales came from you, didn't they? You must still be in such pain.
"'Tis of no moment, a mere annoyance compared to the dreadful suffering inflicted upon this land and its people."
Albeit brief, my involvement in the Dragonsong War afforded me a glimpse of the myriad sorrows which consumed both dragon and man. Though you were half a world away, such tragedies as befell your kin must have affected you deeply. And yet, you chose to live among men.
In the age when that conflict first bloomed, my choice had already been made. In some distant place, man slew dragon, and dragon slaughtered man. Yet no hate could I muster for those smiling faces which did look to me for guidance. Not even my brother's righteous rage could rally me to his cause. I huddled here, secret and still, hoping against hope that which I had built would remain untouched by the chaos and carnage.
Let there be carnage. But no.
'Twould seem we share the same desire for peace, great Vritra. To that end, I wonder if we might trouble you with another question. The Telophoroi are intent on recreating the final days, an apocalyptic event which we know to predate the sundering of the star. As the longest lived among us, know you aught of this terrible cataclysm?
Nay. When war and strife drove my sire from his home, he crossed the great expanse with only our unhatched eggs as company. He alighted upon a shattered source, its 13 reflections long since scattered beyond the rift. Of events preceding his arrival, he knoweth naught, save that which Hydralin hath deigned to disclose.
I see. So again, 'tis the inscrutable Hydralin to whom you must look for answers.
Seek you to divine the will of this star? If so, I have a tale which may afford you some small comfort. 'Tis a story from my youth, many years ago. To my sire, I once posed the question, of all the stars in the sky, why didst thou settle upon this one? To which Midgardsummer did reply, 'twas the last bastion of hope. He believed so long as Hydralin endured, so too might dragonkind. Solemn and portentous were his words. What deeper meaning they held, I could not, dared not pursue. 'Tis a stone I've left unturned ever since. Yet take you solace in the knowledge that whatsoever Hydralin does strive towards, 'tis an ideal which hath earned my sire's conviction.
Thank you, Vritra. You've given us warm reassurance in a world gripped by cold uncertainty.
While I'm sure we all have a great many questions, I think it's time we collect the talismans and be on our way. Our fight against the Telophoroi is far from finished.
You told me that. Dus hoe gaan we?
We must take our leave. but please do inform us if we can provide any further assistance.
Prithee, a moment. There is one whom my sire hath judged worthy of honor and respect. The one known to men as Eorzea's champion. This hero of renown and rumor, 'tis thee. I know of his clash with Omega, and the long slumber which was his price. Yet even closed in sleep, my father's eyes are far from blind. He is watching over thee, watching over this world. 'Twas a revelation most pleasing that thou, a child of man, had gained Midgardsormr's trust. But alongside mine elation runneth a rivulet of dread. For upon thy life's reel wind too many threads of fate, power, weal enmeshed with woe. Amidst this tangled knot thou shalt know no rest. 'Tis an endless confluence of forces, a struggle without surcease. More terrible still is the attrition wrought upon thy companions, as they are swept up in the storm of thine existence.
Não sei porque eu
Take heart and protect them well. They will be your strength and your salvation. The hope thou wilt need come the end. Even cowering behind my curtain, I know the suffering of the powerful. I have watched my siblings driven mad by loss. Thus do I exhort thee to spare no effort to keep thy loved ones safe.
Apologies. We hadn't meant to interrupt.
It's just that we do have a history of suddenly collapsing, and when you didn't follow us out...
'Tis I who must apologize. I have detained your champion overlong with idle chatter. Go. At war's end, I pray I welcome thee back into my hall, where together with thy joyful comrades, you may toast your triumph.
sei se pode voltar aqui agora. Aqui é tão susto mesmo. Do nada, mesmo assim. Bem. Engraçado. Pode ser o algo da design, não sei.
These are the talismans we were promised.
Yes, and I made a quick count. There are far more than we could have hoped for. Enough to outfit an entire company of soldiers, in fact. Considering the involved process, that they were able to manufacture so many in such a short span of time is nothing short of a miracle.
Once we have distributed them to our allies in Eorzea and the Far East, we'll have a fighting chance to bring down the other spires, just as we did with the Tower of Zot.
Or we could use them to invade Garlemald proper, and strike directly at the Telophoroid's base of operations.
Oh no! Oh no! O Clube dos Lobos?
Of course, we would need to consult with various alliance leaders before such a drastic measure could even be contemplated. To which end, I could set out forthwith and present the idea to each of our allies in person.
Pray allow me to undertake some few of those journeys. I find myself restless and in need of purposeful duties.
I can head eastward. Bosnia and Dalmasca are just a short hop from here. And Doma's shinobi network should come in handy for passing on the word.
We shall share the burden then. Meanwhile, I think it best that you and the others take the talismans back to the Baldessian Annex. We must keep them safe and secure until we've decided upon a course of action.
Não é tão final de endgame, quase. Juntar tudo.
Please, I must speak with you.
Nidhana! Vou ver.
Nidhana, you're awake.
Yes. When I spoke with the carer at my bedside, she told me that one of the scions, a young woman, had cleansed me of the tower's corruption. It seems I've been asleep ever since the treatment. But when I awoke and learned you were all still here, I knew I had to come. As you said, Nidhana was captured only recently. Such a brief exposure is swiftly cured, so I tended to her before we gathered at Megaduta. And I am truly grateful that you did. I cannot thank you enough. All of you, for everything you've done. Destroying the tower, rescuing our people. You've saved Thavnair from an awful fate.
Yet who hath truly saved whom? Due in no small part to thine inspirational courage, the alchemists were successful in reproducing warding scales of proven efficacy. Replications of thy work now stand ready to travel across the seas, unto the hands of those who might wield them against this rising evil.
The talisman? Is this true? Oh, I was so groggy from sleep. I didn't even think to ask. Oh, our great work sent across the seas. It was worth it. Oh, it was all worth it. Look at that. Its color is completely changed. What do you have there? How unusual. I wonder if the effect is a reaction to Akasha.
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that term.
Akasha? It is one of the unseen energies defined by Harnish alchemical theory. Though a gross oversimplification, some describe it as an essence influenced by feelings.
You imply that it is distinct from ether?
Us foreign scholars often conflate the two, but we see them as separate concepts. Ether is an energy which permeates the land. It exists within animals, objects, even the air we breathe, affecting all through which it flows. Akasha, on the other hand, exists in a domain beyond our reach, a gift bestowed from on high or torn from the heavens in some traditions. Akasha can neither be created nor destroyed. It is beyond our power to purposefully alter or manipulate. The only thing observed to influence it is an abundance of, I want to say, spiritual emotion. As a veteran of the battlefield, surely you've experienced moments of desperation or exaltation when you've transcended the usual limits of your capabilities.
Sometimes.
That is a manifestation of Akasha, the invisible essence harnessed by heart, mind, and unyielding spirit.
I really must hear more about this theory. Our disciplines are based entirely upon the idea that ether is the fundamental form of all energy.
I'm glad my haphazard explanation has piqued your interest. But even for us, Akasha is a somewhat abstract field of study. A lack of practical application lends itself poorly to formalized research. Which is why my analysis of your flower can amount to little more than idle speculation. I am sorry.
Nonsense, you have nothing to be sorry for. Your insight is much appreciated.
Shall we depart for Sharlayan then? I will see to it that the talismans arrive at the Annex.
And we will be in touch once our talks are concluded. I suggest you rest while you can. From here onward, sleep is bound to be in short supply.
Por favor. Achei que não estava. Ah, tá. Que alívio. Ok. Foi mais aliviado que pensar que não estaria a gravar. Não estou aqui, ó. Qual era o... Já. Nada aqui. Se me dar com o tempo do iris, mas não sei se dá. Completo. O problema é que está só mais uma vez. Deixa já está assim para dar. Está só muito longe depois de ter que andar aqui. Esqueça. Isto custa muito. Não tenho uma gostado de fazer isto. Eu tenho está com rato e teclado, senão vou ter que o jeito todo. Mesmo só, eu vou fazer agora um intervalo rápido. Claro, é nosso vídeo. Ele só. Alguma coisa. Já não, já sabem que o dia é assim. Here we are. Vamos continuar a nossa aventura. Para nós outra vez.
Take heart and protect them well.
Também sei que foi aquela imagem.
Good, you're here. You haven't eaten yet, have you?
É uma do.
We've bought quite a spread if you're interested. Only the finest dining from the last stand.
Mas posso achar que é sobre o que eu estou a falar. É essa imagem que eu estou cansado de saber, pensar que tinha sido feita mesmo. Claro, a marca sim, mas. Ok. É dessa. Oh, imagina. Consegues? Isso é referência. Compreendo. Compreendo. Oh, classy.
Lest you wonder, we invited Astinian as well.
That is easy.
But he refused with a rather grim-faced, "No, thank you." I suspect Charlian cuisine is not to his liking.
No.
Oh, I don't know about that. Perhaps our lone wolf just needed some time apart. What? To perfect his brooding stare? Next time, I'll drag him out by the ear, sit him down in front of a Charlian feast, and see that he eats every last bite.
Estou confundido outra vez.
An excellent idea. Of all people, warriors must take proper meals and rest if they are to maintain a healthy constitution.
Poor Astinian, beset on all sides.
Speaking of one's physical condition, Mistress Cryle, I hear you recently played literal host to Heidelin herself.
And what an experience that was. Tiring, yes, but no lasting harm done. If anything, I should have liked to speak with her longer. I've not felt a hint of her presence since.
Hydaelyn instructed you to carry that flower, yes? Twill be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. And then something about seeking joy in darkness, was it? Come to think of it, isn't that what happened with Nidhana back in Resgatar?
The flower did seem to radiate a joyful glow, as if reflecting the elation we all felt, the relief of a people with renewed hope.
Indeed, and in turn I felt buoyed by that radiance. 'Twas akin to spotting a beacon and knowing we were on the right path. I know we've not yet triumphed over the Telophoroi, or learned the full breadth of the Forum's plans. But even within the midst of our struggles, we find small moments of joy to sustain us. Rare and hard-won perhaps, but it is this pursuit of happiness that gives us the strength to carry on day after day. Hey, that's mine.
To the swift the spoils. Though I recall that levitation spell of yours was quick enough.
Only barely. And even at my best, I'm still too slow to wield it effectively in battle. Mayhap I simply require more practice with this new magic.
You unearthed it from the depths of Numenon, I presume?
Aye, and from a veritable mountain of arcane tomes at that. 'Twas necessary to facilitate my solitary explorations.
Or, to put it simply, you used it to sneak around the forbidden archives.
Yes, well, after a fashion. They're tall, you see. The shelves, they're too tall for me. And I could hardly move the library's platforms without attracting attention now, could I?
Coitado.
I'm not that ambitious. But 'tis pleasant to idle away the hours every once in a while.
Novamente machas.
Enjoying the bracing cold, I see. Do you not own a warm coat or a cloak? Something in fur? Or fashioned from the skins of your enemies? Or... well, never mind that. I come to you once more as the bearer of bad news. Our tower in Thavnir has been toppled, and I need not tell you by whom. Given how many we have at our disposal, the loss of a single spire is hardly fatal to our plans. It does, however, slow the rate at which we siphon ether. If they continue to preoccupy themselves with the towers, then all will be well. But should our foe prove bold enough to strike at us here, then the timing becomes questionable.
Our foe is bold enough. Of that, I can assure you.
Yes, very well then. I suppose I must prepare a proper welcome. Honestly, talk of your nemesis is the only thing you seem to enjoy. Does nothing else spark your interest?
No. All else is equal. Equally tedious. Equally disappointing. The world is a tepid bog into which we sink, too weak to thrash as the mud clings to our eyes and fills our throats till we blissfully choke.
Juicy time? No.
But then came the light, blinding and pure and hot, so very hot, enough to set my soul aflame. I basked in the afterglow until the void yawned once more, and then I knew the muck would never claim me again. There was naught for me ahead, so I drew the curtain on all that had come before. Burn, burn, let the whole star burn. I will have my contest. I will reclaim my moment.
How wonderful that the emptiness of death has not dissuaded you from committing your life to its pursuit once more. I don't know whether to envy you or pity you.
You question my disinterest, but what of yours? Despite your noisome antics, I sense you take little pleasure in this endeavor.
Mercy, my lord. Such pointed barbs from one who barely acknowledges my existence. Nevertheless, you are mistaken. For I do find this part somewhat enjoyable. You see, when I was mortal, I would always have the same dream. It was a fragmented thing, disjointed, all the faces incomplete. The setting, too, was unknown to me, so I thought it simply a fantasy of my sleeping mind. Until one day, I realized it was showing me the truth, much as your dream of the final days enlightened you. And soon, very soon, the rest of the world will see the truth of my dream, too. Yes, I think that is something we can both enjoy.
Se a net me permitir, não é? Conexões, servidores, cheiro, lá já nem sei se é minha. Não queria que seja a minha net. Eu não consigo acreditar. Tanta coisa nisto que eu não consigo ver. Não posso fazer isso. Mas já posso ver estas caixas com... Espera, eu vi lá nível 82? Não, acho que é 81. Falei completamente, deixa eu ver. $82 já? Acho que isso eu passo muito rápido. Ah, vamos dar uma saidinha. Been there. Tem mais pouco, nada. Tá bem. É dos snaps. Coitado, quebrando completamente. Spread the word. Olha só. This is cool. Para a escola. Ai.
remember you.
I pray we have not caught you at an inopportune moment. We wanted to offer our thanks for your kind words in the forum.
Well, I could hardly let that inquisition go unchallenged. I've always believed that curiosity should be nurtured, not stifled. Thankfully, a majority of my colleagues agreed. A slender majority, aye, but a majority nonetheless.
Had the vote not gone our way, we would be having a very different conversation, if any at all. Though I'd like to think you would have not given up on our cause. I'm told you paid a visit to the annex afterwards.
Yes, that's right. I was hoping to speak with the grandchildren of my dearly departed friends Galuf and Louisoix in a less dour setting. But it seems I just missed you. I still can't believe how much you've grown. If only your grandsires could have seen the way you presented yourselves to the Forum. Why, it fair brought a tear to my own eye. You must have the patience of a saint, putting up with this lot and their antics. Never mind Matoya's prize student. Luckily, I know a thing or two about managing unruly younglings. If you ever need advice, don't hesitate to ask.
Nada.
If I may, there is a rather more pressing matter we wish to discuss. What can you tell us of this duty that the Forum must fulfill?
Nothing, I'm afraid. Like all humble servants of the Forum, I am sworn to secrecy. Or rather, I couldn't tell you if I tried. Our duty is of the gravest importance. Furthermore, if the particulars were made public, it would incite widespread panic. As such, those entrusted with this duty have been bound by an enchantment, which prevents us from speaking of such matters without the express permission of the Forum.
How is that even possible?
It's been some time since I last gave a lecture. Please, take a seat.
Oh não! Obrigado, força nisso! Para escolher? É para eu escrever em si mesmo. Qual vai ser que eu escolho é só para escrever em si.
We shall begin by reviewing the fundamentals of etherology. The ether, which imbues us with life, can be categorized into three forms. Two are of the incorporeal sort, the soul, and the memory. Can anyone tell me the third?
Ele disse que dois são incorporais. Não têm corpo. E um que é. E eu sou assim mesmo.
The answer is corporeal ether. This is the form with which the layman is most familiar. Consumed by even the simplest of daily activities and replenished by the food and drink that sustain us, this form of ether is in constant flux. In contrast, the ether that comprises the soul is rarely subject to dramatic change. The same can be said for memory, as the two are intrinsically linked. Picture the soul as paper, and memories as words written upon it. Now, what would happen if that paper was doused with ink? The same type of ether as comprises the memories.
It would blot out everything that was written.
Precisely. We would be unable to recall the memories, and any activities that depend upon them would be hindered as well.
Então esse que eles bloqueiam é vocês todos. Mas está lá.
In fact, this exact phenomenon was observed on a vast scale not so long ago. And what might that have been?
The seventh Umbral Calamity. The people of Eorzea vividly recall Bahamut breaking free of the Lesser Moon and raining hellfire down upon the realm. But no one could seem to remember the events that followed immediately afterwards.
Indeed. To this day, we have yet to determine whether it was an unintended consequence or a deliberate act. The enchantment which binds me and the rest of the Forum is based on a similar principle. And yes, it is a contravention of the Sharlayan prohibition against the practice of memory manipulation. Only when a new member is inducted and told of our great duty are they subjected to the process. A necessary evil. You have my word that it would never be used to manipulate the populace?
I should hope not. But can this enchantment be dispelled and your memories restored?
If 9/10 of our members give their approval, then the process may be reversed. Then, and only then, would we be able to speak freely to others of our sacred duty. Barring that, we must wait until we return to the ethereal sea. For there we will be purified, the blots upon our souls washed clean. And our memories drift apart and dissolve, rather defeating the purpose, I suppose. But there are those memories that are indelibly etched upon our souls, some believe.
Só que elas não estão assim mesmo apagadas, nem bloqueadas. Algumas cicatrizações.
What happens after that?
We are reduced to pure ether, coalesce with that of others, and create souls anew. Alternative schools of thought assert souls remain whole and return to the corporeal world, reborn into another form. Both theories have their proponents. Personally, I consider each equally probable. Well, I think that's enough education for today, now that I've given you some food for thought. Or rather, an entire banquet.
Off we go.
I would remind you that although I'm unable to assist you with certain matters, the resources at my disposal may still be of use to you. I'll arrange for you all to be given the run of Phenomenon. Of course, as associate to our alumni and the students of Baldessian, this privilege is extended to you as well, my friend. Oh, and I suggest you speak with Ki Aliapo. She's well known among the artisans of Sharlayan, and her network of contacts may prove useful in your search for knowledge. I wish you all the best in your pursuits, wheresoever they may take you.
Exatamente. Vou deixar tudo offline. Também começamos. Amigo, entre aspas, nos baixos. Entre aspas. Vemos aos poucos.
By the 12.
Glad you could join us. I hope you don't mind, but we went ahead and started without you.
As you can imagine, our traveling companions were eager to become acquainted. 'Tis a rare thing indeed to see such a diverse and talented group of individuals assembled for a single purpose. We fight not only for the sake of Eorzea, but for the entire world, including the people of Garlemald. Much rides on the efforts of the Ilzabard contingent.
Indeed, which is why I am glad to find myself in the company of many trusted comrades, yourselves included.
Lucia!
I have come at the behest of Lord Emmerich, who has honored me with the role of Ishgard's representative. And for the good of all nations, not least my former homeland, I am determined to see this mission through to its end. We have a hard road ahead of us, but walk it we shall, together.
We too welcome this opportunity to work together once more. I have faith that, if there is a way to resolve this conflict, we will find it.
Allow me to introduce you to the rest of our company. Everyone! If I may have your attention. Might I ask you to speak first?
If I must, I am Arun Senna, spokesman for the Gridanian delegation. Here on behalf of my esteemed sister, the Elder Seedseer, we shall provide support and protection to those in need during our time in Garlemald. To that end, I am joined by healers selected by the Conjurers Guild, with the Order of the Twin Adder's Finest serving as our escort. Of course, with an experienced white mage such as yourself accompanying us as well, those requiring more involved treatment will be in safe hands. Raya O sends her regards, by the way.
Suppose I'd better say my piece.
Wait, I know you.
The name's Sicard, in case you've forgotten. Truth be told, I'd rather you had forgotten. Any road, the Admiral asked Captain Hillfear to send his best, and for whatever reason, he picked me. Of course, if I'd refused, I'd be the laughing stock of the bloody executioners, and my reputation's taken enough of a keyhauling as it is. But more importantly, like any pirate worth his salt, I know when you're staring down a storm, you gotta trust in the commander of your ship. So if the Admiral wants us to go to Garlemald, not for plunder and glory, but a promise of peace in our time, then that's what we'll do. Since we all know how much the Empire loves its steel, we thought we'd bring along a few smiths to make the most of it. Give them a pile of scrap and they'll cobble together anything you fancy. Of course, just like the Gridanians, we got fighters of our own. We might have come with a more constructive purpose in mind, but we're more than capable of cracking skulls, believe you me.
Well, you're certainly raring to go. But then again, so are we. The most dependable warriors of Uldar and Alamigo have assembled at the Sultana and General Aldin's behest. If Garlemald has truly fallen, then the whole place is likely to be crawling with Telophoroi. We'll need plenty of troops to clear and hold a path for others to follow. That's where we come in. Naturally, Marshal Terrapin and I will be leading from the front. It's been some time since I last saw you in your element on the battlefield. From what I've heard, you've become pretty fearsome yourself. Master Matoya, the avatar of destruction. With comrades like these, I know we'll succeed, no matter what awaits us. And then we might finally get a chance to enjoy a good long rest. But until then, let's give it our all.
As for Ishgard, we Temple Knights have come in force to uphold our nation's commitment to the peace and welfare of our allies. The bitter cold of Garlemald is a formidable enemy in of itself. Our experience fighting in ice and snow will prove invaluable in the days ahead. Accordingly, I have been designated commander of the Ilzabad contingent. I will do all in my power to provide you with the leadership and guidance you require. The four high houses, House Hylinart foremost among them, have arranged for a host of machinists to join us on our mission. Their knowledge of Imperial Magitech is sure to be a great boon. They will address any problems of a technical nature, together with the smiths of Limpsa Lomitsa. There is another awaiting introduction.
Lord Emanolaine?
Ah, yes. Emanolaine de Forton, at your service. Though, lest there be any misunderstanding, I should stress that I've not become a fearsome warrior while you were away. Rather, far from it, actually. My brother, in his infinite wisdom, decided this would be an excellent chance to make something of myself. Oh, and fight for world peace and all that. But, should the opportunity arise for a spot of ballroom dancing, I will be your twinkle-toed gentleman of light. Huzzah! I cannot wait to regale Honoroa with my tales of daring-do.
I believe that concludes introductions for the Grand Company of Eorzea. Our allies from the Eastern Alliance were due to arrive some time ago, but it would appear they have been delayed.
Would that be the shinobi of Doma?
Actually, they've been tasked with relaying messages back and forth between the various Eastern nations. According to Lord Hien, however, an equally capable company of warriors has been sent in their stead.
Ai não, didn't kill.
Out of my way, you preening fool!
What? Nah. Citra.
Forgive us for coming late.
Yeah,
We are the delegates of the Eastern Alliance.
Cyrena, and you've brought company.
For battle and blood we come, as the steppe is sorely lacking in both. No towers befoul our lands, so we marched on those of Doma, only to find them beyond our reach.
Eu tô à espera que eu pense aqui uma coisa, acho que vocês sabem que eu tô à espera, calma.
But now our thirst for slaughter will be slaked. No quarter to the enemy!
Sadu Hatun, no. We go to make peace with the Iron Men, not war.
Warriors of the Steppe, we've heard many tales of your bravery. We welcome you as allies. And these other ones you have brought are...
Members of the Dalmascan resistance group, Lente's Tears.
Já vi ver também aqui. E Rot Dogs. Como está cheio isso aí? Ixi.
And the Bosnian resistance. Between them, they have a wealth of experience in espionage, and are particularly adept at infiltrating Imperial facilities, which is fortuitous, since Garlemald's domain is so vast that I could never hope to handle reconnaissance duties all by myself.
Quer retirar uma coisa. Já vi ver assim. Já tem. Logo no seu cheiro já começamos a... Ignorem. Ok. I'll get Peter Bond.
Dalmasca, Bosnia, Alamigo. All lands which have suffered the tyranny of the Empire.
Tem falta mais alguém? Próximas expansões, é isso?
I would never presume to question your motives. Nevertheless, I must reiterate that our goal is to aid the victims of the Telophoroi, the common folk of Garlemald. And they are victims, make no mistake. Though I understand that many may struggle to see them as such.
You're more right than you know. For every one of us that answered the call, there were a dozen that refused. Not only in Alamigo, but everywhere we went. And who could blame them? The Empire's always been the enemy. But after seeing what we've seen, fighting and working against and with Garleans, there's no denying the simple truth. They're just people. No different from you or I. They've got their share of liars and murderers, but so do we. So do we all. For Dola, who once swore herself to Garlemald, has proven herself a trusted ally time and time again. Every Eorzean here knows Cid Garland, the Imperial defector who shared with us countless technological wonders. Maxima, who stands with us today, tried to reform Garlemald from within and make peace with Doma. So you can believe me when I say that every fighter here understands and accepts that the Imperials are not monsters and are deserving of help. Or at least that they were able to put aside their feelings for the greater good. It won't be easy, but we're all determined to make this world a better place.
What lingering concerns I may have had were clearly unwarranted. I agree with everything you said wholeheartedly.
Para tudo. Calma.
Then we are in accord. Now, let us review our strategy.
Estou a ver tudo. Isto está pesado. Isto está pesado. Calma, está muito pesado. Calma. Estás a falar, estás a mexer os lábios sem dizer nada. Calma, isto. Por favor, não vaias abaixo. Isto agora... Amiga, pode...
To reach the Garlean capital in northern Ilsabard, we must cross the central mountain range.
Mais abaixo.
Fortunately, Garland Ironworks can provide aerial transport, sparing us this most treacherous part of our journey. However, attempting to fly any closer to Garlemald would attract the attention of the Telophoroi. As they appear to have seized control of the majority of the Imperial military, we must assume that includes its fleet. In addition, Garlemald possesses devices that can interfere with airship navigational systems, further discouraging an airborne approach.
Given the circumstances, the closest we dare deploy our contingent is an area between the range and the capital, the Magna Glaciers. From there, we must travel the rest of the way on foot. We will also need to bring the airships with us to ensure we can withdraw with haste. Although much of the terrain will be blanketed in snow, we should be able to make use of local roads and shipping facilities. The vast ice field will afford us an unobstructed view of the surrounding area. On the other hand, it will also allow others to easily spot us, so it is imperative that we only make camp in positions where we can easily defend ourselves. And the airships, which must be kept safe at all costs.
We cannot account for every possibility, so we must be prepared to think on our feet. We will be tested. Sorely tested, I expect. But for our homes and for our people, and a people not our own but in need, we will succeed. Spare no effort in your preparations. Once we depart, there is no turning back.
Da net. Eu vou dizer 10 anos, que é para não dar a deixar nos olhos. Como foi 2003? Não, preciso fazer 10 anos de história para isto. Eu vou fazer assim, EndWalker. Aqui vai embaixo, mano. Ah, tá aqui. Ah, tá aqui. Claro. Vamos matar. Tetaru. Wahaha. Comando. Ok. Uou, tudo. Vamos ficar por aqui. Enquanto. Agora eu não quero que não seja não é mapa. Estou tanto na parte de quando ela quis lutar com as tensões do marcanista. Foi engraçado. Isso foi muito esquerda. Muito esquerda. Por isso, vou dar o escudo de nós. Mais um X. Eu acho que avancei das missões de 80 mil, agora estou nas 82, vejam só. Ok, está tudo. Só espero que estas horas, 2 horas ou 3, já nem sei, de gravação, não me tenham ido por água abaixo no sentido de não haver som do monitor nem ouvir a minha voz, como foram praticamente os anteriores. E por isso eu peço desculpa, e se esta for outra vez vou voltar a pedir desculpa e espero vivamente que não seja isso. Que satisfação, caramba. Tenho no olho nessa obrigação, eu sei, mas de outra vez. Eu antes de fazer este vídeo tive a fazer tantas vezes os defaults da aplicação, tive que desinstalar e voltar a instalá-la. Para ver qual é que era o problema. Mas tanta coisa. Eu só espero que esteja corrigido, não interessa. Tchau. Vejo no próximo. E desfrutem do resto do vosso dia, que é Natal.